Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sue. How are you today? So it's time to talk about my post where I gave you 7 sentences and I asked you to underline the correct form of the verbs. But before we talk about the post, let me comment very quickly on the poll. In the poll I asked you to vote which lesson or which level would you like me to teach in the next free scheduled lesson, hopefully. And I'd like to say that the votes are very close to one another. So we have almost 50% for each. So it might be a good suggestion to tag a friend, and maybe this will tilt the vote into in your favor. So that's just a suggestion. Okay, so back to the post. Let's talk about the post. So I'm just going to give out the answers first, and then I'll discuss them later, okay? So let's start. Let's start with number 1. So here, number 1, it says, she was really nervous about the interview, and although she tried not to worry, she had a stomach ache the whole day. This is number 1. Number 2, I'll never forget falling off the balcony when I was 5. Number 3, Michael remembered giving his spare pen to his friend because he had asked for it twice. Now, number 4, the new teachers need to take notice of the problems many students in class have. Number 5, if you can't find the restaurant, try looking on the internet. So this is number 5. Number 6, experts predict that oil prices will go on rising for at least another few months. And number 7, Netflix appears to be doing really well in this lockdown, as 80% of its viewers decided to renew their subscription this month. Okay, so these were the results, and I think most of you in the comment section, I think, got them right. I think Abdu and another one of the page's friends got the answer correct, so thanks and great effort on your side. So let's talk a little bit about this. As you can see here on the left side of the screen, in one of my previous videos, I talked in detail about this topic, which
Hello
is
everyone,
verb patterns.
this is Dr. Sue.
So in this video, which I'm going to post the link to in the comment section, I talked, or let's say I divided verb patterns into roughly into three groups here. So first of all, what do we mean by verb patterns? Let me remind you of verb patterns. Verb patterns refers to the use of two verbs in sequence. So one verb follows the other. So when one verb follows the other, there are certain ways or certain changes which are made to the second verb, and these changes, of course, depend on the first verb. So let's start with a very simple or very common example, the verb like. So you can say, I like to watch television, or you can say, I like watching television. It's almost the same thing. There's no difference in meaning. This means that the verb like, you can follow it with to plus infinitive for the next verb, which is watch. So I like to watch. It would be grammatically correct. And you can also do the same thing with the ing form. So you can say, I like watching, and there isn't much difference. This is the case with the verb like, with the verb love, hate, and there are other verbs in this group which follow this pattern. So this is pattern number 1. Now, pattern number 2, it happens with verbs which have to be followed with an ing form. So for example, the verb enjoy. So if you say, I enjoy eating ice cream, I enjoy going to bed late, I enjoy driving fast. So in all these examples, notice that the verb that followed enjoy, it had an ing. So I cannot say I enjoy to watch television. That would be grammatically incorrect. So I have to say I enjoy watching, I enjoy eating. So now this is pattern number 2. This is the second group. And then we have pattern number 3. So the third group here, in this group, what's interesting about this group, it goes both ways, okay? So it's like pattern number 1, but there's a major difference here. In this group, and this is actually the group that was included in almost all the sentences from number 1 to 6, I think, except for number 7, but from number 1 to 6, these verbs are included in this group, which I'm going to talk about now. Okay, so this third pattern or third group of verbs, in these verbs, the verb that follows them can either be a to plus infinitive verb or an ing verb. So you might be thinking, oh, this is the same thing as like. Well, not exactly, okay? Because like I said with the verb like, the verb that follows them doesn't change in meaning much, whether it's an ing form or a to plus infinitive form. So I like watching TV or I like to watch TV, there isn't much difference. But for example, if you say, I need to fix my car, and if you say, my car needs fixing, so here the fix part changed a bit in meaning. So when you say, I need to fix my car, here you're referring to yourself, so you're the one who's going to do the action. But when you say, my car needs fixing, here the subject or the person who's going to fix the car is unknown. Probably a mechanic, but still it's unknown. So here with this verb, with I need, with the need verb, whether you follow the verb after it with an ing or a to plus infinitive makes a difference in the meaning. So this is something to keep in mind, especially for B1 students or students hoping to start preparing for IELTS. Now, another verb which has the same thing is the verb stop. So if you say, I stopped to take a photo of the beautiful sunset. So here you stop to take a photo. But if you say, I stopped taking photos when I was 19, so you have a completely different meaning, right? So with the first one, I stopped to take a photo, so you were just going along your way, you were sightseeing on the beach, whatever, and then you paused, you took a photo, and you went on with your day. But with the second action, with the second sentence, when you say, I stopped taking photos when I was 19 here, it's very different. So this is an action that has stopped. So this action is finished, it's done. Another example of these verbs is the verb remember. So like in this example, the one with Michael, so Michael remembered giving his spare pen. So in this situation with the ing form, this action has already happened. So it's in the past. So when you remember giving something, or you remember meeting with someone, or you remember studying something, this remembering action is about actions that happened in the past and are done. But in this example, if I say, I hope you remember to pick up Ahmed tomorrow at the airport. I hope you can remember, or I hope you remember to pick him up. So here the action hasn't happened yet. So you haven't picked up Ahmed yet from the airport, right? So here, I hope you can remember is a bit like, I hope you don't forget. This means the action hasn't happened yet. So you can see in these three examples, the one with need, stop, and remember, the verb that follows, depending on whether you use a to plus infinitive or whether you use a to plus infinitive or an ing form, makes a difference in meaning. And this was the focus of this post or this exercise. So all of them, grammatically speaking, can go both ways, I think, except for number 7. With number 7, you have to say decided to renew. Decided renewing, I don't think it makes much sense. But for the rest of them, you can do it both ways. It's grammatically correct, but the meaning won't be correct in these examples. It won't make sense in these 6 sentences. So it has to be in this order to give the meaning needed from the sentence. Okay, so I also recommend you take a look at my previous video, which like I said, I'll put the link in the comment section, in the first comment, so you can take a look at that. It might help remind you of this topic. It's a very important topic. The first video is more suitable for let's say A1, A2 students, because it introduces the idea of verb patterns. But this last post, like I said, is a little more tricky, and it focuses on the last pattern, or pattern number 3, the one I talked about, where the second verb can either be in the to plus infinitive form or the ing form, but there is a change in meaning. Okay, so that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to keep your English healthy with Dr. Sue.